Ela trabalha com coaching.
She works with coaching, and she tried to adapt coaching for the Society of St. Vincent de Paul. And that's really what we expect from all the professionals that work and at the same time that belong to our society. So the idea is in fact to bring the good practices from the outside world into the SSVP. We cannot in fact leave our professional or family life behind. What we are learning from our professional world will be in fact a good exercise for our Vincentian life. And our Vincentian life, of course, helps us to be better professionals also in the professional world. So they are hand in hand. And Erika was invited to bring this novelty, and I'm very sure that she will enjoy it. So Erika, the floor is yours.
Louvado seja nosso Senhor Jesus Cristo. Boa tarde.
Good afternoon.
Eu entrei na sociedade.
I joined the Society of St. Vincent de Paul.
Na barriga da minha mãe.
My mother was still pregnant,
Minha mãe
in fact.
e meu pai são vicentinos.
Both of my parents are both Vincentians, and the first time that I attended a conference meeting was in my mum's belly, and today I'm also pregnant myself, 6 months pregnant, and of course my daughter is already attending the conference meetings and she's also paying visit to the poor.
Meu esposo tá aqui
My husband is just standing at the back of the room
prestigiar.
and is here to support me.
Meu pai, minha mãe.
My father, my mother, top left, and I'm working with 7 regional coordinators
Organização de jovens
within the Youth Commission in Brazil. It's a great pleasure, and Sister Emilia invited me to be part of the Youth Commission of the Society St. Vincent de Paul. We've got about 120,000 Vincentians in Brazil. And the picture on the top right is a meeting that we had with an international meeting. And it was a great opportunity.
Então eu sou advogada,
I am a lawyer
pós-graduações
with 2 post-graduations,
e me apaixonei por esse mundo.
and I really fell in love with the world of human development. I have got MBA in human development and positive psychology. I'm also the secretary of my conference in Brazil, in Brasilia, where I live, the coordinator, as I mentioned. And
Primeira pergunta
well, the first question that I'd like to ask all of you
é qual o legado
is what kind of legacy, what legacy will you leave to the next generations?
sentido
And
vocês acompanhem esse
I'd like you to have a look at the video.
E a pergunta que eu dei
So the question that I'm asking you now is, what will you do?
ajuda material.
Is material aid sufficient? Frederick Ozanam said, "It is very little to relieve the indigent day to day. It is necessary to lay hands on the roots of evil and through prudent reforms to reduce the real causes of public misery." Therefore, the Vincentian family, along with
Trabalhado num tema
our group,
que mexeu
we've been working on the
profundamente comigo.
topic
Mudança de
which is very dear to me, which is the change for all of us and the change of structures. These change can be carried out in two different ways, either through us, the leaders, as Renato normally does this gesture, like with partnerships and different worldwide actions and national actions, but at the same time, it needs to be done during the home visits. And Sister Emilia, as she also pointed out here, she actually learned and taught us how to work in the Society St. Vincent de Paul. As I mentioned to you, from the very beginning, since as a child, I've been taking part in these conferences, and I know that we've got the needy that normally, remain like 2, 3, or even further generations without this assistance. So our work is not just to promote the poor ones and the needy ones, but to try to keep them in their situation. Let me explain. I studied first the situation and analyzed the whole context. And I thought, well, Erika, how can I actually help the needy ones? How can I make a difference? If a teenager or if brothers and sisters, regardless of their age, if they don't see results, they will never carry on being Vincentians. In other words, we need to find means and mechanisms to transform their lives in our conferences or during our visits. There are many different tools we can use. Personally, I'm bringing just one that I've also been studying and I felt in love with. And the most important thing, I've obtained good results. Coaching. I work with coaching in a very poor neighborhood in Brasilia, and I try to use this kind of assistance as well, and to try to use these tools. Some cases of success, and these people recover their lives, personal lives, professional lives, parents, for instance, helping the children, and always using dialogue. So I know that besides these strong partnerships, we in fact need to evolve and try to improve the way that we act in these communities. Otherwise, we'll never be able to attract new brothers and sisters. So this is just one tool. Coaching. Coaching helps to identify the current state of the individual, but at the same time to try to outline what is really needed. And normally the expert works with a methodology which is called the mental model. So the world today, and Brazil, as you know through the media, the world is going through many different crises at the moment and changes, but also through crisis we can in fact try to evolve, try to gain new resources, but there are some other people that are not able to do that. So we understand that the most important thing is in fact our mind. We need in fact to have this systemic change in our minds, in other words, in our emotions. So we need in fact to try to work with the needy ones, but with this mental power. It's almost like a computer. I cannot change what I'm going to print out if I'm not programming things correctly. So operation equals programming. In our childhood, we're always being also shaped by our parents. As a baby, of course, my leaders in order to feed me, to love me.
É o meu pai
Of
ou é a
course,
minha mãe.
my
Ou
father
quem me
or my
criou,
mother,
meus avós, pais substitutos, enfim. Encontramos tantas realidades.
or
E
grandparents, for
eu não
instance.
nasci sabendo administrar
So, of
dinheiro,
course, nobody is
não
born
nasci sabendo como me relacionar
knowing
com
how
o
to
esposo,
relate
não
to other
nasci
people, how to manage money,
sabendo como
how to
lidar com o outro.
deal
Eu
with
aprendo
the
através
others.
do que eu
So I
vejo,
learn
do
from
que
what
eu
I see,
sinto
what
e
I
do que eu
feel,
escuto.
and what I
São
hear.
através dos meus sentidos
In
que eu
other
capto.
words, it's through my
De 0
senses
a
that I'm
6
learning.
anos são formadas, então, as principais
The
crenças.
6 first years are the most important one because the mental programming is prepared during this phase or during this stage. And it can be constructive or destructive.
Aqui tem caso que eu peguei
Now, this
na
is the
revista
case that I
de
picked up in a
filho,
magazine.
uma criança
This
que
is
já é
a
viciada
child
em
who's already addicted
Hoje é
to
uma das maiores
heroin.
pobrezas que
And
nós,
this
Vincentians,
is
temos
one
que
of
lidar.
the problems that we are facing today in our
Independente
society.
da cor,
Now,
independente
regardless
da classe
of
social,
the gender,
eu posso
social
ter crenças
class,
de identidade.
I
Quem
can
sou
have,
eu?
in fact, these
Fortes.
identity
Por
beliefs.
exemplo, esse caso aqui,
If you have a look at this picture,
esse
for
atleta,
instance,
ele tem uma deficiência
this
física,
athlete
mas
with a
ele
physical
acredita
disability, but he
que ele é
strongly
capaz
believes that
de
he
vencer
can,
disputas,
in fact,
de ir além, de
reach his
ganhar
goal
troféu.
and also
Ou
to
seja,
get
é
his
a
award.
programação mental,
It is his
é o
mental
mindset.
programming, the mindset, that is the
Também
most
nós
important
temos,
thing.
dentro da nossa mente, é formado
Ourselves,
na infância,
we've got
crenças
exactly
de
the same thing.
capacidade.
We have
O
to
que eu sou
create
capaz
these
de fazer?
in our
O
children,
que eu sou
to show
capaz de
them that what they
conseguir?
can do, what they can
Onde eu sou
reach,
capaz de chegar?
how far can I go.
Com certeza, muitos de vocês
Most of you, I'm sure,
fortes capacidades,
also have
crenças
these
de capacidade,
beliefs,
pois chegaram
and
no Conselho Nacional.
because you are
E nós
also
precisamos
members
mostrar pro
of
nosso
the
assistido que ele
of the
também
council.
tem essa
And the
capacidade.
same
O
is to be
cérebro
applied
dele, a
with
mente
the people
dele
that we need, who we
funciona
help
da
around
mesma
us,
forma que
to
a
show
nossa.
these people that
Só que
their
ali
brain
foi
functions
programado
exactly the same way as
algumas
ours.
crenças limitantes.
But of course, we need to
Também
help them.
temos a crença de merecimento.
And then we also have these beliefs
As
of merit.
oportunidades, elas estão
The
no
opportunities
mundo para
exist around the world for
todos.
everyone,
Acontece que
but
muitas vezes eu
what
falo, isso não é
happens,
pra mim.
and very often we say, ah, this is not for me,
Carrão, ou há uma
or
oportunidade,
wow,
isso
what a
não é pra
great
mim.
car, what a great
E
opportunity, and I
aí,
say, well, that's
quem
not for me.
limita não é Deus.
So who's
Deus,
putting the limits? It's
ele
not
dá
God.
oportunidades pra todos.
God
Quem limita
provides
sou
the
eu, através da
opportunities for
minha crença.
everyone. If I'm putting
Se a minha
limitations,
vida
it's
foi uma
me.
criança, não
So
tem dinheiro pra isso,
if a child
não
says,
pode
well, I don't
isso,
have
você
the
é
means to do that, I
desastrado,
don't have
você
the
é
money to buy these,
desatento.
or if I'm
Ele
being accused of
cresceu
these and
com
pointing,
aquele
being
padrão.
having the finger
E
pointed at
quando
me
ele
all the
vai
time,
vivendo,
of course the child is
ele
going
vai
to grow up in this
reproduzindo isso,
context,
vai
he's going to
confirmando
reproduce
a
all
sua
that, he's
crença.
going to confirm his
E
belief.
agora me fala,
So,
as crenças estão então na nossa raiz.
so in fact our beliefs are part of our roots. So the fruits of a tree, can you change the fruit of a tree? Can you transform a lemon tree and transform it into an apple tree? Is it possible?
Sim ou não?
Yes or no? Can you change a lemon tree into an apple tree?
Eu preciso
I cannot change the fruit.
frutos diferentes, resultados diferentes.
I need, of
Onde
course,
que eu
I will,
preciso
in
mudar?
fact, get different results. But where do I need to change things then? Of course, from the roots.
Então, uma árvore, ela vai dar
So,
frutos conforme
a tree like these,
Obrigada.
a tree like these will provide the fruits that I want, but according to the roots that I planted. Now, quantum physics states as well that as an observer, I can also have an impact on the result of the world. So the way I observe reality, what I expect from the reality, will also create my own context. If I look at the needy ones, for instance, I say, well, poor you, poor soul. No. Of course, he or she is going to feel inferior. However, if you look at the individual and show him or her that he can do it, that he will be able to overcome his problems, then, of course, they will have different results. When I look at my son, for instance, with this negativity, putting him down, with lots of criticism, because we are trained for that. 80% of our thoughts are critical or criticism. And in our society, it's almost like it's a good thing. It's, you know, being critical all the time, it's almost like being analytical. But a study carried out showed that 20% of the teams, high-quality teams, are the ones that in fact show this positivity. So they're always trying to encourage. If you want to develop a child, for instance, and saying, well, you cannot turn to her or him and say, well, you fell again, or you made that mistake again. On the contrary, you should say, wow, congratulations, you made your first step. Well done. Apparently there's a kind of delay because people did not seem to laugh at what I'm saying. Are you listening to what I'm saying? And to the interpreter, for this matter. So, through encouragement, and there is a scientific book called Positive Psychology. And it's a part of the psychology to study what is the difference between people that have this part of the brain which is more positive than the negative parts. I'm thinking about depression, anxiety, etc. So out of 17 different studies, 16 were actually addressed to study the average. And in fact, there's been an evolution just to show that there are people that go beyond this average and see, in fact, this positive world. So again, it's very important to observe the world in a positive way. We are, in fact, like an antenna, and we need to see. See? So antenna in the different languages. So we, in fact, trying to broadcast in different frequencies. So if I've got a frequency, for instance, of pain, negativity, or limited belief, of course I'm going to attract all these negative things in my life. If I'm in a positive frequency, determined beliefs, then of course I will be positive. So this is what I need to do with my council, my national council. The way, as an observer, how do I create this reality? Another example that we have about this belief is the placebo effect. There are some studies that show that 1/3 of the people are actually cured by the way that the physician or the practitioner prescribes a certain medication. So if the doctor says, this is going to cure you, most people believe him. So we know that there's lots of trials being made as well, but many people were cured just by their belief that they will believe that they could get cured. So belief or believing means faith. So we've got absolute values as well, absolute beliefs. There are people that just believe that they are totally negative and wrong, and they will observe the world exactly that way. So believing that you can change and work and contribute to a better world, then things will happen that way. So is it possible to change our mental pattern for the people that we assist? Yes or no?
Yes. Vamos fazer yes forte, gente.
A big, loud yes.
Sim, através da neuroplasticidade.
Yes, it is possible thanks to neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is also one branch of the neurosciences, and it shows the capacities that our brain has to create new synapses and new connections, so to speak. So we can, in fact, create all these regardless of our age. So our life is not, in fact, determined by our genes. It's not because I was born from poor parents that I'm going to be poor myself. or that my parents are doctors, that I'm going to be a doctor myself. I can change. So it's a great piece of news, isn't it? So the people we assist can also change, and we need, in fact, to bring this good news to all of them. And it is a way of changing and to try to bring new changes in our brains as well. How we can change our beliefs, the negative ones. The positive ones, of course, should remain, but the negative ones need to be cleared out. So how do you do that? Everything starts with communication. Say the word communication to me. Everybody. Communication. So the first is communication.
I need the
Gestures.
Okay? Todos? Everybody?
Everybody, just move your hands.
Tudo que eu comunico.
Everything that I communicate to you.
Tudo que eu comunico.
Everything that I communicate to you.
Repeat, please.
Repeat after me.
Tudo que.
Everything I talk, says the speaker.
I think.
I think.
Everything I think.
Everything I think.
I sentir.
I sentir.
I feel.
I feel.
Everything I feel.
Everything I feel
Se torna uma crença.
becomes a belief.
I believe. I believe.
So I believe.
É ciclo.
It's really a cycle.
É cíclico. É cíclico. Ok? Vamos repetir tudo?
Let's repeat again.
Everything
So everything I communicate.
Everything I think. Eu penso. Everything I think. I feel. Everything I feel. I believe. É ciclo. Se eu penso que eu
Therefore, if I think that I won't be able to do it, or if I feel that my counsel, for instance, is breaking down, then, of course, I will have these negative feelings, feelings that are going to decrease my frequency. If I feel that, then, of course, this will take over my thoughts and my feelings, and, of course, this will have an impact. So this is the observer creating his or her own reality. And through this cycle, the cycle of emotions and feelings, I can change my reality. This is what I'm trying to convey to all of you today. 95% of our beliefs are, in fact, unconscious. I don't think if I want to brush my teeth, for instance, or if I want to change my clothes or to put on makeup, etc. Now, so the other 5%, okay, just raise your hands, 5%. With those 5%, it is possible to change beliefs. So the first key is communication. Well done. There is a Dr. Mazuro Emoto from the University of Yokohama in Japan. He performed different experiments with water. And he took the water from a source, and in this case from the fountain, and he subjected it to a human thought. So he would classify the different types of water. For instance, I don't know, love, hate, threaten, etc. And then he took some pictures. So he crystallized the water and took some pictures. And he showed the way that the water transformed itself through these words, so through communication. So these were different water molecules, and he concluded that these water molecules behaved in different ways according to our words or thoughts. So he says our body, the human body, is 95% of water. So what is the power of word?
O nosso corpo é formado 90%
95% of our body,
90%.
well,
Cada-
70%
cada
maybe,
cientista estudioso
says the
diz.
speaker, so it depends on the
Então, como é o
on the
poder da
scientist.
palavra? Então, se eu
So
falo,
can you
né,
see the
que vai
power
dar
of
certo,
the
eu
words?
falo
So
pro meu filho que
if
ele é
I say,
vitorioso,
well,
eu
if I say to my
comunico
son, well
coisas
done,
boas, isso
you're
pode
doing
transformar.
great, of course you can transform things.
O que eu planto, eu
What I plant, I harvest, and this is what I'm doing. When I'm communicating with you, I am planting,
através dos
and
pensamentos.
I'm planting all the
Estou
time
plantando através
through
dos meus
communication,
sentimentos.
thoughts,
E o que
and
eu vou
feelings.
colher é os
And
resultados
what I'm
da
going to
minha vida.
harvest is
A
the
minha vida vai
is the
ser
results of my
péssima
life.
resposta.
So my life is going to be
De
the
cada
answer
plantação que
of
eu tenho.
each of these
E eu
moments
planto
of
de forma
plantation.
diferente
And I
no meu
plant
casamento.
completely
Muitas
different
vezes
in
no meu
my
casamento,
marriage,
eu
for
não
instance,
planto muito bem. Eu falo
or in my
mal de
relationship.
esposa, eu falo mal
Sometimes
de
I'm
marido.
not,
Só que, de repente, na sociedade,
I'm
se a
turning
gente
to
fala
my
mal,
husband
eu
or
planto bem, eu
wife
falo
and
bem, eu
criticizing him or
acredito.
her.
Então,
And
cada pilar da sua vida,
each
a saúde,
moment of your
o que eu
life
penso
and the
sobre
pillars of your
atividade
life,
física,
like for
yes,
instance
aqui todo mundo
health,
faz atividade física,
physical exercise, for instance. Everybody says
depois
yes.
de 2 horas.
You're just reacting like a couple of hours later.
Todo mundo
Come
malha?
on, come on,
Yes,
guys.
todo
Do you
mundo?
practice exercise? Yes or
Quem
no?
aqui faz atividade física?
Anybody?
O que você pensa
So,
sobre
what
atividade
do you think
física?
about physical exercise?
Es bueno?
Is it good or bad?
Good? Conforme eu comunico,
So the way that
conforme
I
eu
communicate,
penso
the
e eu
way I
sinto,
think, and the way I feel, then I will have
todo mundo
certain
levanta
results.
a mão assim, por favor.
Just raise your hands like me. Raise your hands like
Vem
me.
vindo com a mão, vem vindo, vem vindo, vem
Come, come,
vindo.
come, come, come with your
Agora
hand like
para
that
aqui,
and stop here.
Gruda aqui, ó. O que que tem aqui?
What have you got
Agora
here?
sim.
What have you got here?
Resultado.
You've got results, outcome.
Resultado. Tá tudo certo.
Everything
Fala assim,
is,
ai,
just say everything is
inglês
fine,
é
everything is right.
Tá tudo certo. Fica tranquilo. Cada vai colher.
So
o que
everybody's going to harvest
Okay?
what they're planting
Everything. Na nossa vida toda.
throughout the whole
Nós
life.
vamos plantar através de comunicação, pensamentos e sentimentos.
So communication,
Deus
thoughts and
nos
feelings.
deu
In
o
fact,
livre
God has
Okay?
given us free will.
Deus nos deu o livre-arbítrio. Ele está no comando dos
God
ventos,
is
no
supervising
comando
and
da terra,
He
mas
is
o comando
in
do
full
meu
command,
lar,
command
da minha
of
vida,
everything, of my own
quem
life.
comanda sou eu.
But maybe also I should be the
comando
one
da minha
that should command my whole
Através
life
da minha plantação,
through
vou ter a minha
my
colheita.
plantation again, so I can in fact harvest what I
A
plant.
pobreza,
Now,
ela não tem a ver
poverty.
com caráter.
Poverty has nothing to do
Ela
with your
tem a
own
ver com
character,
plantio.
but it's got to do, it's a matter of planting.
Assistido nosso pode ser maravilhoso.
The individual we assist can be a wonderful individual. I know many of them. I love them all and I learn a lot with them. But if that individual does not plant the physical exercise, healthy food, then of course his health is going to suffer. If he doesn't plant like the financial management, he will never have the resources, enough resources for the difficult times. And of course, he doesn't have the mental model. But we can teach them. We are here to talk to them and to say, well, it is possible. You can change. And new pieces of information can also be learned by all of them. So I'd like to invite all of you now to think about this question. What have I planted so far?
Superação, vitória.
Overcoming difficulties, victory, do I believe that I really can do it? That I can take my national council to the highest point? To create 60 new conferences in 60 different countries and attract young people? Yes, I do. I strongly believe that it is possible. Or I just concentrate on difficulties. To be honest, if there is a problem, there is always a solution. Otherwise, it will become a fact. If it is a problem, it has a solution. So what is my observation? What is the way that I look at with my own eyes? The way I see or perceive my national council, my region. I believe it is possible to bring some changes. And the way that I act, in a calm way or in a stressful way, anxious, too nervous. No, this is my life. And again, what kind of legacy I'm going to leave to my next generation? Is that a matter of mood or laziness? Is that joy or sorrow and sadness? I am in charge financially for my own money. I believe that the people that I assist can learn this lesson. Do I actually plan every single euro that I spend, for instance? So who is to be blamed if I don't? Now, what do I do in my own personal relationships? Harmony or disputes? Is that taking care or just abandoning? Or is that more in companionship or disputes? Is that love or hate? Positivity or negativity? It is a choice. And the result, we're going to harvest it in our life. It's a fact. And there is no excuse saying that I am a victim, it only happens to me, etc. It's always like the poor one. I can do it. God has given me all that I need to conquer. And in fact, this is where I can find the power. And again, the power of plantation is in our hands. The International Council, what kind of legacy are we going to leave? What kind of answer or reply are we going to give our world? Everything starts with very small changes. Small changes that are going to bring great results. On a daily basis, daily life. Stop complaining. Look at the positive things. Look on the others that they, in fact, what they have, the good things. Because he's also a creature of God. Look at this experiment. That is like the domino effect. A small attitude actually brought up some great results.
Viram, pessoal?
Did you see it? See, a small domino, small piece of domino just was able to bring down the giant piece. So we're very small very often, but we can do so much. So small attitudes and actions in our lives can bring great results. Amy Cuddy, a social psychologist, her PhD thesis was about the small differences in our body, in our human body, and the way the non-verbal communication can actually bring great results. If I've frown all the time, for instance, if I'm always walking like that, grinning and all that. There are many people that are always grinning like this, right? You've seen that before, haven't you? Hey, are you with me or not? Hello? Are people that walk like this? I think that's what the speaker said. These, of course, will bring lots of changes in our minds. So it's got to do with posture. So a small difference in your posture, in your body posture, can make a big difference to the people you assist. It increases the testosterone by 20% if you show this gesture of power, like a leader, and it reduces cortisol, so your stress. We're talking about chemistry here. Have a look at the video, which shows, this is from TED Talks. You can actually see the full video online. Have a look.
So I want to start by offering you a free, no-tech life hack. And all it requires of you is this, that you change your posture for 2 minutes. What are nonverbal expressions of power and dominance? Well, this is what they are. So in the animal kingdom, they are about expanding. So you make yourself big, you stretch out, you take up space, you're basically opening up. It's about opening up. And this is true across the animal kingdom. It's not just limited to primates, and humans do the same thing. And this one is especially interesting because it really shows us how universal and old these expressions of power are. This expression, which is known as pride, so the arms up in the V, the chin is slightly lifted. What do we do when we feel powerless? We do exactly the opposite. We close up, we wrap ourselves up, we make ourselves small. We don't want to bump into the person next to us. So again, both animals and humans do the same thing. And this is what happens when you put together high and low power. So what we tend to do when it comes to power is that we complement the other's nonverbals. So if someone's being really powerful with us, we tend to make ourselves smaller. We don't mirror them, we do the opposite of them. Here's what we find on testosterone. From their baseline when they come in, high-power people experience about a 20% increase, and low-power people experience about a 10% decrease. So again, 2 minutes and you get these changes. Here's what you get on cortisol. High-power people experience about a 25% decrease, and the low-power people experience about a 15% increase. So 2 minutes lead to these hormonal changes that configure your brain to basically be either assertive, confident, and comfortable, or really stress reactive, and feeling sort of shut down. And we've all had that feeling, right? Before you go into the next stressful evaluative situation, for 2 minutes, try doing this in the elevator, in a bathroom stall, at your desk behind closed doors. That's what you want to do. Configure your brain to cope the best in that situation. Get your testosterone up, get your cortisol down. Don't leave that situation feeling like, oh, I didn't show them who I am. Leave that situation feeling like, oh, I really feel like I got to say who I am and show who I am. So I want to ask you first, both to try power posing, and also I want to ask you to share this science, because this is simple. I don't have ego involved in this. Give it away, share it with people, because the people who can use it the most are the ones with no resources and no technology and no status and no power. Give it to them, because they can do it in private. They need their bodies, privacy, and 2 minutes, and it can significantly change the outcomes of their life. Thank you.
Nós vamos fazer, seguindo o estudo da cientista.
Now, according to the study, we're going to change our body. Let's have a look. First of all, I would like you to bring your shoulders down. Just lower your shoulders, right? Now, just tilt your head to the front. back.
Faz uma boquinha.
And try to frown now. Try to grin, exactly.
Observe o seu sentimento.
And think about your feelings.
Que nota você se dá?
How would you rate that?
Que nota? De 0 a 10.
Let's say from 0 to 10.
Como você se sente?
How do you feel?
Ok. Levanta a
Because they can
cabeça.
do it in private. They need their bodies
Levanta os
private.
ombros.
Yes, your shoulders as well.
Agora sorriso. Quero
And
ver
a
os
big
dentes.
smile. I want to see your teeth.
Sorria para a pessoa do seu lado.
Just smile to your neighbors.
Observe o seu sentimento. Que nota você se dá agora?
Okay, now think about the feelings, your feelings.
Mostre com as mãos.
How would you
para mim,
rate
por
that?
favor. Que
Out of
nota
10,
você
out of
se
10,
dá
how would you
agora?
rate?
5, 10. Ok.
See?
Como ela disse,
So, as the
as
psychologist
pessoas
revealed,
deficientes visuais
the
comemoram
blind
uma
people,
vitória com as duas
they
mãos em
always
cima.
celebrate their victory, opening up their arms, just like the V as in victory, right?
E na minha
And
metodologia de coaching,
In
nós
my
aprendemos
methodology,
a
in my coaching,
fazer o
we
yes,
always
que ele
learned
realmente
that
muda os nossos
yes
resultados.
means that we are going to change our results.
Tá bom, obrigada. E você coloca os dois braços lá em cima.
So again,
Vamos
just raise your
comigo, por
arms
favor. Fechem as mãos.
in a V shape.
Pé direito na frente.
Your
E
right
nós vamos
foot
dar 10
stepping up a little
bravos de
bit,
yes.
and
E depois nós vamos
almost like a
conferir
yes. See, like a
que
Y
nota que
shape.
nós vamos ter.
And say the word now, yes. Just wait a minute, says the speaker. Not too fast.
Só colocar aqui. Peraí. Vamos lá! 10 segundos. 1, 2, 3 e yes!
Now you can say yes. Come on, more energy into it. Yes. Okay, on count of 3. Now like this. Like this. Congratulations, well done.
Qual a nota que você se deu?
So, how would you classify yourselves now? Rate yourselves after the yes session. Out of 10. Out of 10.
Confira o seu sentimento.
Now, just again, check on your feelings. Thank you.
Quem é mais analítico?
Those who have more like this analytical position or portrait tend to avoid, doing these open things and the, well, they don't really move about too much really. But when we know about science and when we understand science, and since we know that this can change the lives of the people in front of us, the people that we assist, then of course you don't know to turn to them and say yes, 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 like a crazy yes. No.
Pode fazer uma posição assim.
This posture, for
Antes
instance,
de ir para uma reunião,
before going to a meeting,
levantar o
just
seu
raise
ombro,
your
pequenos ajustes,
your shoulders, and these little changes can bring big results. Do not cross your arms and or your legs,
fecho
because otherwise you're just showing to the world that you're closing yourself to them
ao crescimento.
and to
Quem sou eu
growth.
pra saber tudo, não é mesmo?
So, and I'm always learning to learn, willing to learn. So, I should be open all the time.
Então nós
So we have the power in our hands, the power of planting through communication, remember? Not only verbal communication through words, but also our known physical communication. So one thing if you say, well, I'm happy, and another thing is to say, I'm happy. So my communication is planting my lives, my thoughts and my feelings. And if I change, then my world will change because I'm actually mirroring my own world. So it was a very simple lesson that I wanted to show you, just to say that you can have new results and to improve your life and your national councils, and to bring these changes also with the people you assist with a very simple and free methodology. And it's going to change your model and your mental model. God has given you all these, so let it be and leave your legacy. And let's do it together. Let's construct this together. A full life for everybody. For everybody. Everybody deserves it. So we should have life in abundance. So and this is the reason why I work for. So I'd like to thank Renato with all my heart to have invited me to be here and to bring my knowledge to all of you. Thank you.
Questions? Questions? Yes. Adrian, from Belgium. It's okay. It's okay.
It's okay? Ouais, yes. Just no, en français.
Yes, I agree with the ideas. I use that in my professional life. But I'm also shocked because it's putting all responsibility on poor people, on their situation. Whereas for a lot of people, they're poor for reasons outside their control. They can't find work if there is no work. And I think it might be giving them a false hope. So I think we need to be careful with this sort of approach. The inequality between rich and poor is increasing is growing, and it's not. We can't just solve that through positive psychology. So I think we need to be careful about how we transmit this message. We'll wait for other questions.
Questions? Okay, Gramajo.
Primero, agradecerte y agradecerle a Renato porque la verdad que muy entretenido y aparte como que levantó el ánimo.
Thank you very much. Thank you to Renato. It was very entertaining and encouraging. I would just like to talk about one thing because, well, just as our friend from Belgium said, it's very difficult when we try to generate this kind of optimism when they are, well, we are just with them for a moment when we visit them, but they are in a different world to us. You know, how can you say, well, I mean, smile, but they haven't got any teeth. They don't smile because they don't have any teeth, for example. How can you work on that when we have such a small amount of time with them and they spend a very great amount of time with other negative inputs, other negative feelings, the message that they are inferior? I love the approach, but I would like to know more about how to use that in our work as conference members.
Lilian, tú mismo, sí. Puedes preguntar también. Después
Yes, you can, Lilian. Yes, I wanted to say something in a response to what Adrian said. I think that being poor is not... what I mean is that Being poor is not fate. You know, it's not a disaster in itself. You can be poor and you can be happy. Basil?
Yes, thank you. I think it's a good method. As Christians, we know that the word is strong. Everything has been done through the word of God. And in the gospel, they say that we need to be joyful even in distress. This isn't new to Christians. But now making a link between faith and science, I think it's science that is being shown here. I think there's also a problem of knowing how that can be adapted. I'd say that it needs to be adapted, and to know how we can preach that. When should it be done? How should it be done? We can't just present these ideas and forget about the context, as my colleague said earlier. So as Christians, yes, it's a strong lever, something we can use, and we can work with that, and it does give results. But I think we should know how to adapt it specifically. Thank you.
And then we'll pass the floor to Erika.
Parabéns, Erika.
Congratulations, Erika. Congratulations on your paper. And let me just complete and complement some of the information you've given us. First of all, brothers and sisters, we need to understand that the poor should also have the same opportunities as the ones we have. If we feel that the poor do not have opportunities, everything that Erika has presented us then won't make any sense. We all have the same opportunities, just like our children have the same opportunities. So the poor also have these opportunities. I agree that this work needs to be well prepared and well implemented and well adapted as well. It's not just going to see them or visit them, but we need to think that the people we are trying to help and assist also have and should have the same opportunities. If you see the person in front of you as an excluded person already, then of course the impact is going to be zero. No matter how much charity you're showing towards these individuals. So these people need to see and feel that they also have the same opportunities, and this understanding that they've got exactly the same opportunities as we do. And it is up to us then to be the bearers of these of this message. We need to convey this message to all of them. Show them, well, you can do it. This is what I learned when, for instance, I was at this meeting with Erika. So we need to, in fact, to bring the good news. The gospel, after all, is in fact the good news, and we are trying to convey this message across the world, showing them you can do it and you can overcome this difficult situation. And I, as a Vincentian, I'm here to help you to overcome the situation. If we don't believe in all these, then of course it will have no impact. Our work will have no impact at all on the society. Apparently, there's another question.
Français, l'italien de Antonio.
I agree with this method. I think it's useful for volunteers. It can reinforce the self-knowledge to better serve. In Italy, for the last year, we've started to use this method, and we've had some good results.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your inputs and questions. Let's start with the brother from Belgium. At the beginning of my presentation, I wanted to stress that we need, in fact, to also intervene in these policies, in public policies as well. So I also take part in the different meetings for actions, international and national meetings about the identity of classes, social classes, and in my region, for instance, but also trying to help other colleagues from other countries. I think that as good citizens, the fact that we understand about the poor and the way they live, I think we understand better. So my methodology is to show that these people can also free themselves from their situation. There's like an external factor, and we're going to use it, but there's also our attitude after that. Answering your question and Sebastian's question, I cannot explain the whole methodology in just half an hour. This is just, in fact, the tip of the iceberg of my study. And I've got a full set of modules. These modules are normally applied in every single visit, but from one visit to another, I normally perform some activities with like book reading or watching videos, and it's like the film coaching. What else? We also tried to set some goals, weekly goals, and say, well, next week I want you to overcome this or that situation. For instance, this week I'm going to attend Mass, or this week I'm going to pray the Rosary with my wife. So it's an identification problem first. So what they feel at this time and what they intend to do in the future, and try to see how they can reach their goal. So what I brought to you today is just like a little sample of what I can do. This is really just the tip of the iceberg. Anyway, I'm going to leave my own email address with my contacts, phone numbers, and everything. So if you wish, I can send you my modules and my contents. There are some online courses as well. So feel free if you want to participate and to apply this methodology. So this is really a small sample. The first steps through communication, feelings, and how you can actually change beliefs. But there are many things involved. It's a very long study, and unfortunately I wasn't able during this time to tell you about everything. But I'm always trying to update and improving, of course, my study and this literature. So should you be interested, just get in touch with me and I'll send it to you. A round of applause to Erika Lima.
Nós